Michelada, fajitas, tortillas, real fire. Friends, it don't get no better than that.
Fajitas are delicious, and so are micheladas. And so in this video, we're gonna make a michelada marinade for your next carne asada. Traditionally in barbecue and grilling, but especially in Texas, there's this belief that you need only salt when it comes to beef, specifically when it comes to steaks. The comment you hear all the time is, I wanna taste the beef. Heck, I've said it myself many times, but I constantly get messages.
Do you have a fajita marinade mix? What is your favorite fajita marinade mix? Can you send me a fajita marinade mix? So that tells me that people like fajita marinated. It also tells me that people like flavor. And I have already now been experimenting more in my patio, cooking marinated fajitas. And I'm actually realizing that I used to be pretty much just, I want to taste the meat flavor kind of guy. But I want to tell you folks, more and more, I'm really liking some of the marinade experiments that I'm doing.
And so this recipe today is delicious, and it incorporates a lot of different ingredients that traditionally make a great michelada, but also make a flavorful and tenderizing marinade for our fajitas. Our three main ingredients for today's recipes are
sirloin fajita, an ice cold beer, and we also have some Don Chelada Michelada mix.
So let's get fired up and make some michelada marinated fajitas. Vámonos!
All right, let's get started. We're gonna go with half a cup of orange juice, half a cup of tomato juice. We're gonna use half a cup of michelada mix from Don Chelada, 3 tablespoons of wow, 1 teaspoon of cumin. We're gonna go half a teaspoon of cayenne. If you like a little more bite, put a whole teaspoon or 2 even if you like. And we're also gonna use a teaspoon of granulated garlic. All right, we're also using a teaspoon of Don Chelada's Chile Limon beer salt. All right, now I like to whisk all this liquid up together first, along with all the powders to incorporate everything together really well. And then we have the secret ingredient, beer. All right, we're gonna use all 12 ounces of this beer here. I'm gonna whisk that up just a little and wait for those bubbles to settle down. Chop up this shallot. So the recipe does say the juice of 3 limes, but because the limes were not as juicy as I wanted them, I went ahead and added another one. All right, we're gonna squeeze. I got the juice and the orange. All right, let's mix it up a little bit. All right, friends, let's see what this tastes like. Bring me a cup. All right, that really tastes good. It's gonna make those fajitas extra good too. I definitely taste the michelada mix, but nothing's as overpowering. It's all kind of like really nicely balanced. You know, and I put 3 tablespoons of wow. It's not salty at all. I think it's gonna be just right. Now, if you guys have seen some of my previous marinade videos, I always say, add the oil last. The reason you want to put the oil last is because the salt will not dissolve in the oil. So you want that salt that's in the rub to dissolve before you add the oil. So this is always last. All right, so we have all of our ingredients in here. We are ready to marinate our fajitas. Let's get those fajitas out. All right, now once you have your marinade in there, you want to pick your fajitas up, kind of flip them over a little bit. Make sure you have that marinade on both sides. Now, ideally, you want to marinate fajitas or skirt steaks or any tougher cuts of meat, minimum 4 to 6 hours. Just really depends on what cut you're using. But in this case, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour will be good enough to add some great flavor. But remember, the longer you leave it on there, the better it's going to taste. All right, this is going to the refrigerator for a couple of hours. We'll see you guys outside by the grill. All right, so Gourmet Wood Products sent me a few chunks of wood, a couple of different types of tree. We're in South Texas. We're doing carne asada. It's got to be mesquite. All right, let's see what we got here. Ooh, that's about 500 degrees at least. It's time to clean the grill. Ooh-wee, that puppy is caliente. Dump that whole onion in there. It's just added flavor. All right, friends, we've been marinating these fajitas for 2 hours. It's time to cook. That is one hot fire. All right, now we have a pretty good amount of mesquite lump charcoal down there. We added a couple of pieces of mesquite logs for a little extra flavor and a little extra heat. You always want a really hot fire when you're cooking skirt steaks, fajitas, steaks, or anything that's hot and fast. That way you get a nice, good char. Now, one of the things you don't see most of the time on marinated fajitas is that char, because there's so much moisture on and in the meat that it sweats and it's wet. And that's why you normally see a lot of people that are gonna cook steaks, they'll dry the surface off so you get a little bit of that char, that crust, a little bit quicker. You can still get it on these if you have a really hot fire. Hopefully our fire's hot enough today. All right, I'm gonna move a little bit of my coals over here, a little further to the front, get a little more heat. There's a little breeze here and it's blowing most of the heat up and out this way. I want it to come over the top a little bit. All that moisture drips down there. You start to smell that beautiful aroma, but you also cool your fire down. So you got to give it a few minutes. You want to let that fire kind of burn off some of that moisture, and then it'll get nice and hot again. But looking at this, we're not there yet. We're not quite ready to flip, so we'll take a sip. A little michelada sip. Man, it's hot back here. A little cooler over here. This is cool too. All right, after a couple of sips, let's see if it's time to flippity-flip. Oh, we're getting close, friends. Look at that. We're gonna let them sit a little bit longer. I can see the surface of the meat starting to dry up a little bit. I don't want too much of that moisture to evaporate, so I am gonna flip a little bit early. We wanna keep the moisture inside the meat. Look at that, man. That looks gorgeous already. Wowza. All right, when you're doing this, you always wanna take a quick peek, especially if you're running a really, really hot fire. You don't have to flip them, but you do want to take a quick look every once in a while. All right, friends, we don't have a lot of char on the bottom yet. I know we don't. Our fire's kind of mellowed out a little bit with all the moisture dripping on it, but I am gonna flippity flip. See all that going down? We want to keep that moisture inside the meat. Watch this one here. If you leave it sitting here too long, all that moisture is gonna evaporate. You want it to stay inside the meat, so you want to flip a little bit more often. As soon as you start to see a lot of moisture puddle on the top of the meat, it's time to flip. And it does look like it's hotter on the back side here, so sometimes it's okay to rotate your meats front to the back, back to the front. All right, I see a lot of moisture puddling already. That means the heat is traveling into the meat a little quicker now. We're gonna flippity flip one more time. Now you're gonna see the meat start to get a little bit of color. We'll be ready to pull these off after the next flip. All right, we're gonna pull this meat. It is done. It's done. We're gonna go ahead and pull these fajitas out. Look at that gorgeous, beautiful piece of meat. Look at that. Remember the fajita, steak, whatever you just pull off the grill is gonna continue to cook, so the temperature is gonna rise a little bit, so you wanna pull it a little bit early. You don't wanna put it real tight while they're resting. You just want them to cool off a little bit. Let's see what this cherry tech salsa tastes like. Oh man, that's good. And I must say I taught you well. All right, friends, it's time to taste the marinated michelada fajitas. So we're gonna get one of these strips out. All right, first thing we're gonna do is cut the fajitas with the grain, a couple different spots, and then we're gonna turn them sideways. I like them nice and thin like that. Makes it really easy to slice. Man, that is a perfect fajita right there. All right, I like this char, so I'm gonna add a little bit more of this charred part right here. Let's take a taste first before we make a taco. That's really good. When I tasted the michelada marinade inside, that everything was all there and it was nicely balanced. Actually, I kind of get the same flavor out here. It's not overpowering in one way or the other. The really good grill flavor from the mesquite and the charcoal. The meat tastes great. I can taste the marinade in the meat. I mean, it's fantastic. I'm gonna make me a taco. I like to put two of them together like that. Make the taco a little extra long. Then you just kind of fold them both together like that. Voila, you got a nice big taco. Now, no taco would be proper without some good, fresh, homemade salsa. Today we have a cherry tech salsa that my wife made. Michelada, fajitas, tortillas, real fire. Friends, don't get no better than that. Oh yeah, baby. That is good all day long. Like I said, I can taste the mesquite, I can taste the fire. The meat is soft, it's delicious. Salsa spot on. The marinade really kind of added a nice little complex flavor. All right, I'm thinking, friends, this is a fantastic taco. Everything balances really well. Everything tastes great. It's just delicious. If I would do anything to make this better, I would have shook a little OG or just a little salt on the meat while it was resting, and that would have been even better. But it's super good just like that. All right, one more bite and I'm done with this taco, and then I'm going for number 2 and 3. That's good. That taco was amazing. Anytime you got real fire, meat, good rub, good marinade, you're gonna be eating really good. And this taco, this recipe, this marinade, all together, really shined for me today. I really seriously think you guys will enjoy it. You should give it a try. All right, friends, I really had a good time making this michelada fajita marinade. I seriously think you'll enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and share. Thanks for watching. And friends, if you're interested in our American Pitmaster rubs, you can go to pitmaster.us. If you want to up your barbecue game, go to pitmasterclass.us, and we'll see you there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next video. Boom! Vámonos. Want to try the michelada fajitas? Can you sit? Good boy. There you go. He says it's approved. And some Don Chelada. What's it called? And some Don Chelada. And some Don Chelada. Michelada. And some michelada mix from Don Chelada. I asked Terry if she wanted me to bring up my YouTube video to show her how to make the salsa. She goes, I'm gonna make my own YouTube.
No, I didn't. I said I'm gonna use my own salsa.
Ah, okay. I must have heard wrong.